What we're seeing right now in unmanned aircraft is we are living in an age of autonomy. Ken, what's autonomy, you're asking? Well, those are vehicles that use a variety of sensors that essentially see their world. And you can do it two ways. You can do it through lasers, through a technology called LiDAR, or you can do it optically with cameras. And what this type of autonomy allows is for an unmanned aircraft to see its world and then react to what it's seeing. So the simplest example I can think of is you fly an unmanned aircraft through the forest, and that vehicle will see a tree. But not only will it know it's a tree, it will have properties of a tree assigned to it. So it will know that there are branches, and the branches are probably going higher rather than lower. It'll know that there are leaves on the branches. And it will be able to make a decision of how to avoid that tree based on the foliage that the tree has. Or it could do something as exotic as say, I see a person. And it may do two things. It may say, oh, I am a life-saving vehicle. I need to find that person. I need to go towards that person. Or it could be a vehicle that's programmed to avoid a person. And that's what autonomy brings us. It's a vehicle that can operate on its own, doesn't need a pilot flying it, and can make all the decisions that we think only a human being can do, and it could do it itself. When you take a look at the market, what I just described, perhaps as recently as 3 years ago, maybe cost $90,000. And there's a vendor right now called Skydio. And 2 years ago, the first version of the vehicle it put out was about $2,500. The latest version, which probably has twice the capability, I'm not being a sales commercial right now for Skydio, only costs about $999. So we've seen the price plummet. And the price is plummeting really for two reasons. We all know that computer technology is changing. We've all heard of Moore's Law, every couple of years you're going to double the amount of transistors on a chip. The programmers, they're getting more experience with these unmanned vehicles, and they're able to produce code quickly and more efficiently. And all that adds up to a vehicle that changes rather rapidly in production cycles. But what we're really seeing, Aaron, is that the unit cost of components for these optical systems and these LiDAR systems is absolutely plummeting. Go back to 2012. A LiDAR sensor probably was costing about $75,000. Go back to just last year. A LiDAR sensor now, so the system that sends out laser beams to tell the vehicle where it's at, probably only costs about $650. But before you break out the champagne and say, woohoo, I'm only going to have to spend $650 on this LiDAR sensor, the one thing you have to realize is that if one LiDAR sensor at $650 does a good job, 10 LiDAR sensors at $6,500 does an even better job. And so we're not seeing large changes in the overall cost of the platform because of component prices dropping, because that's being made up for putting more sensors on the vehicle. But we are seeing a downward trend. So that's really probably the good news when it comes to autonomy. The paradigm in autonomy is really flipping technologies end over end. So you and I grew up in a world, and we actually live in this world through our iPhones that says GPS is the technology. GPS is the go-to right now. And when you start talking about autonomy, you have vehicles that can react based on what they see, but also figure out where they are based on what they're seeing. If you pull out your Android phone, you pull out your iPhone, you can probably take a look at Google Earth. You can take that app, you can point a picture at a street corner, maybe scan that street corner, and there's this remarkable database in the cloud that will allow Google to say, hey, this is where you must be based on what I'm seeing. And you can get down, certainly to meter precision, maybe with a little bit of wizardry on that app. you can get down to almost centimeter resolution on where you are based on what you see. And you say, well, what does that mean to me, in the unmanned world? I can take that same technology, process what I'm seeing, and actually figure out where I am based on a couple of centimeters and visual cues that I'm seeing. So I don't need GPS. And I could say, we're living in a world where GPS may slowly be becoming obsolete when it comes to autonomous vehicles.